Great interview, Richa. I really enjoyed it. And now we're going to hear from Nick Barber with our government segment.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to Impact. I'm Nick Barber, your host, and today we're going to be discussing the government segment of Impact. My special guest today is Fred Lee. Fred Lee is the president of the Schenectady Neighborhood Watch Association. But not only that, Fred has done many other community leadership duties over the years. But today we're going to talk about the Neighborhood Watch. Welcome, Fred.
Thank you, Nick.
How are you?
Thanks for inviting me.
Good to see you. We're not strangers, are we?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Neighborhood Watch, very important. Neighborhood issues. We had a mayor's election recently, and some of the biggest issues that floated to the top were quality of life and neighborhood issues.
Yes.
Neighborhood Watch certainly affects that.
Yes.
How long have you been doing this?
About 2.5 years now. I've been president of Neighborhood Watch. I was involved in Neighborhood Watch a little bit before that, but was asked because I was president of Schenectady United Neighborhoods to get involved in Neighborhood Watch because of all of the concerns of all of the neighborhoods in the city referencing public safety issues on a wide band.
Yeah. How many members do you have now of Neighborhood Watch?
We're over 300 members. We hope to go through the 500 mark this year. So it's growing.
It's growing.
It's
That's
growing
good.
like crazy,
That's
and
good.
it's really exciting to see that.
Well, the need is certainly there. I
Yes.
mean, you know, we're a small city, but volunteerism is very important. And Neighborhood Watch is a connection to the city government. Is it sponsored by the city, or how does it work?
We're a direct liaison to the Schenectady Police Department and also the Schenectady Fire Department. We also have a communications network which works through the city dispatch or the county dispatch system now. And we use these radios to communicate with them. They can call us when they need to, whether it's a child find, whether it's an emergency of some nature, or if there were to be a man-made or natural disaster, they can communicate to the members who have these radios.
Who supplies these radios?
Well, we've obtained them through a series of grants. Some of them from the police department, some of them from the DA's office, and some of them from private funding. We had a couple of churches that donated some
Yes.
funds for us too.
That's great.
And some private individuals that were concerned.
Very good. There's special training involved, though.
Yes.
What if someone was interested in Neighborhood Watch? What would they have to do? And we'll probably repeat this a couple times because we're always looking for volunteers, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
What kind of training do they get
Well,
or require?
the first level of training is what we call the window watcher. That's the individual that says that they are really going to get trained to observe from their own home. They become a trained observer and go through all of the basic training that we do for those individuals. They don't go out and walk around the neighborhoods or anything. They just stay at home. We're happy with that because if they can take their little slice of heaven off the crime watch, that's an objective that is really important.
Yes.
I mentioned crime, but it's also fire prevention, and we also work closely with the Bureau of Services relative to other quality of life issues that are important to all of the residents of the city of Schenectady.
Such like trash, noise.
Trash, noise, street lights that are out, gas mains that are leaking.
Yeah.
Basically speaking, what a Neighborhood Watch member does is trained to how to properly report things that would negatively affect the quality of life of people that live in the city of Schenectady.
Okay.
And if it happens to be crime, that's one of it, one of the things. But if it's not, it's a wide range of training.
Yeah. So you might be called, the Neighborhood Watch might be called for, like, say, crowd control, a fire, or
We
some
could,
kind of
yes.
power lines down or storm. How about the big storm that we had?
Yes.
What did the Neighborhood Watch do? How did you get involved in the
same thing
in the storm?
The first level is reporting. We begin to call our members, make sure they all have their radios on. We begin to report conditions in the different neighborhoods around the city. This information is in turn turned over to dispatch so that if there's trees down or wires down or something of that nature, we've already provided that information. If it's a snowstorm and the streets are covered with snow, that information is relayed back to the police department, and they in turn can provide that to the rest of the professionals.
So the Neighborhood Watch volunteers are pretty much an army of auxiliary eyes and ears for the community.
Exactly.
They see, hear,
Yes.
as you say, what is it, see, hear, and report?
See it, hear it, and report it.
See it, hear it, and report it.
Right.
And they don't get too involved beyond that.
No, that's-
Because, yeah, go ahead.
Right, and then the next level of training is called patrol training, and that's
Right.
individuals who walk, ride their bike, or drive their automobiles around the city,
Yes.
and they set up their own schedules to do that.
Yes,
And then finally, the next level, the final level of training is patrol communication specialist, and those are the individuals that I discussed that have all the previous training, plus they're ready to work in case of a natural emergency. And
Yes.
work with the Red Cross and organizations like that if necessary.
yes,
And as you mentioned, the fire department will often call us and say, we need some help. And that might free up a couple of police cars, because at the same moment that there's a fire, there might be an automobile accident somewhere in the city.
yes.
So they need police to respond to that. So, and at any given moment, we only have a finite number of police officers to respond to urgent calls.
Yes.
So we can be a force multiplier for them.
Absolutely. It's a matter of
It's-
priorities. I mean, we have
Absolutely.
budgetary restrictions, and you want to send the police officer out to the highest priority, and
Yes.
I know that's how they do it, as far as calls, so
Yes.
Neighborhood Watch is an important addition. Can you give us some great success stories of Neighborhood Watch? You do child finds,
Yes.
elderly people. What kind of things have the Schenectady Neighborhood Watch accomplished? Some of the,
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I often tell people at different meetings, if we didn't do anything else, any of the other things I just told you, if we did our child find, that would be enough to justify having a Neighborhood Watch organization. Last year alone, we found over 150 lost children in the city of Schenectady with the help of the Schenectady Police Department.
wow,
We
that's
found-
significant. That's a pretty big number.
It is.
2 would be something. I mean,
Yes.
just imagine what could happen to children when they're
Yes.
missing.
We, just last week, 2 weeks ago, I responded to a call, and in many cases, the situation is such that the parent just doesn't know at that moment in time where the child is. Something has gone amiss. Could be very bad, or it could be just an accident of timing.
Yes,
Get on the wrong bus, be on the bus,
yes,
get off the wrong place. You know,
Yes.
that sort of thing. So
yeah,
I responded to a call, and I went in, and everyone in the family was crying. A very dependable young 8-year-old male, failed to come home at the
Okay.
right time.
right,
The whole family was crying. There was a niece there who said, "I remember you. You came and looked for my brother."
really?
And I said, "Oh, that's
yeah.
great." And
Yeah.
then the family kind of calmed down a little bit.
Yes,
The police department were there,
Yes.
also filling out the necessary forms.
yeah,
And then we started the search process with a photograph, gave it to our members.
right,
We went to all the appropriate locations. We went to Stewart's. We went to all the places. We tried to think like a kid thinks. You know,
Yes.
where would they go if they just decided to play a little hooky on everybody? you know?
yes,
Turned out that wasn't the case. He just was riding on the bus and somehow got on the wrong bus or something. It was some sort of a shift like that.
yeah,
And then we came home. Then he eventually came home.
Right.
And then we got the call that he was found, and that was good.
well,
And
that-
then everybody was happy.
That
I
was
mean,
a
this is
happy
the range
ending.
of emotions. That's very typical.
but realistically, that was a happy ending. But
Yes.
some of them are not happy endings.
Right.
So you have to treat each one of these calls or incidents seriously, that it could be, a very, very
Oh, yes.
serious situation.
Most people feel that there's a thing called the Amber Alert.
Yes.
And that's a really important function.
Right.
But before you have an Amber Alert, you have to make sure there's been an abduction. There has to be
Right.
an automobile involved in it.
Yes.
And there has to be proof that the child has actually been taken.
So there's
So you-
qualifiers set
Yeah.
for that, okay.
And there's an hour limit on that. There's a time limit on it.
Oh,
So at 65 miles an hour in an automobile, you could be 65 miles from Schenectady.
yes,
We respond immediately. We don't wait for that. When the
Yeah.
police department calls us, we go out on that search.
so you get a jump start.
Yes.
Well, it's a short interview, I'm afraid, because this is all very interesting, but Fred, if you could tell us, if someone is interested in joining Neighborhood Watch, and I know you're always looking for volunteers, and it's very important to volunteer, well, how would they get a hold of you?
They could go to our website.
What is that?
It's Schenectady, the word Schenectady spelled out, NW for neighborhoodwatch.com. There's an application on there. There's a lot more information on Neighborhood
Okay.
Watch. They could call dispatch,
Mhm.
and they in turn will make them, put them in contact with us. Call the non-emergency number for the police department. That's what we would suggest.
Okay.
We're in the process of setting up a new phone number for Neighborhood Watch, and next time I see you, I'll be able to give you
Okay.
that new phone number.
We'll try to see if we can get that on the screen.
Yes.
Fred Lee, President of the Schenectady Neighborhood Watch, thank you so much
Thank you, Dick.
for your service and for coming and talking to us today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Good luck. Thanks for all you do.
Thanks, great.
And I'm Nick Barber, your host. I just want to say thank you. I was missing in action here for several weeks. I want to thank all those that helped me, hosting, Karen Johnson and Huldah and others. Great to be back, and we'll see you again on Impact, the government segment.